Training to be a street cop.
Giving away gold today. Somebody asked me recently in a phone call, and I know who it is. I'm not going to put him on blast here, but he's like, well, why do you give all this stuff away on these Facebook videos? Don't you have a class? Aren't you running a business? Look, the bottom line is guys, not everybody can get to the classes. All right, so I'm not withholding this information from people because I want to be greedy with it. I literally want all of you to know the things that I know, and I want to share it. I want cops to go out and do the right things at the right times. A lot of guys have learned from just these videos, and it's been amounted to great cases and better decisions in the field. So, yeah, that's really what it's all about. Like, obviously, I run a business. I have an admin here who works with me. We have a lot going on. There's a lot of time and thought and hours and research put into all this stuff and all these classes and these videos and all these things that you see. But the bottom line is I'm here to put you guys in a position to win. That's the bottom line. And I'm trying to take this and spread it across the whole country. Unfortunately, I don't want to put this stuff on YouTube, this content, because I don't need every person in the world knowing what we discuss. Now, are some people going to slip through the cracks in this video? Sure they are. I'm sorry, in this group. Yeah, it's going to happen. There's nothing I can do about that. We can only police so much. If you think somebody's is not supposed to be here, but overall, I try to do as best I can to make sure guys are on the job. When you get that obnoxious text from me or message that says, you on the job, that's to throw people off. So, but I'm going to give away some stuff today that comes out of the class. Now, most guys, if you want the full 2-day experience, you guys read about this stuff that's on the page. I don't make this stuff up. The 2-day is never going to compare to these 3, 4, 5-minute videos I do for you guys. Coming and sitting for 2 days and getting a real deep, like immersion of all this stuff. It soaks into your brain. You leave really feeling like different and you empowered, and that's the name of the game. So this is just the stuff that gets guys by until they can get their asses into the 2-day course. And if you want to come to that, it's streetcoptraining.com. And if you do like these videos, the 2 days up, it's a slamming course. Waiting for the schedule. I'm just going to text the guy after this, scheduling the brand new 1 day that I put up a few days ago. But let's talk about some things. I had a guy ask me today. You can see in the post that I put from the email he sent me. He wants to know about reactions to presents and some things that he should be looking for. He mentioned the things that he liked, but he also wanted to, ask my opinion on things. And I'm going to just go through a few things from right out of my PowerPoint, and hopefully you guys can take this with you and go out on the road tonight and try to use this. Now, I will tell you one thing. First of all, if you're going to try to figure out what cars are engaged in criminal activity, it's not rocket science, but you just got to start paying attention. You're not paying attention to the right things. You got to get your head out of the motor vehicle law game. Like, if you're concerned about people going 20 over the speed limit, great. But you're not going to find criminals focusing on the bullshit like that. You will not find criminals. I promise you that. You have to say to yourself, if you want to get into this game of finding criminal vehicles, you have to say to yourself, I'm going to forego writing tickets. Or if your agency's saying, hey, we need 5 tickets a day, great. Go out, spend your first hour, knock out those 5 tickets, or get in a foot post and give out 5 seatbelt tickets because the boss says you need 5 tickets a day or 5 a week, and then get down to police work. I guess they want their schatol, but then get down to police work. So they don't go hand in hand. There's one or the other. You're either going to be a ticket dork or you're going to be a cop. One of the two. So no offense to the guys who don't know any better either. I know that the people who are going out there and think that tickets are actual police work. I get that you're trying, and I'm not knocking you for that, but I'm here to try to sway you into, I know you want to do more, I know you want to have those good arrests. I know a lot of guys are on here because they're trying to become better at the craft and the trade, and there's guys like who are on here like me and other people who are part of this that have a lot of experience that want to share it with you. So, you got to listen to what we're telling you, or what I'm telling you as well. Again, this is just my opinion. I'm one dude. I am one friggin' dude. There's a shitload of good cops. I just put this stuff into educational format for you guys to understand and learn. But let's go into, here's where you're going to start. Let's just take a break down to the very, very beginning. You are going to begin to have to start looking at traffic. If you're going to focus on motor vehicle traffic, that's fine. If you're going to focus on bicycle traffic, that works too, or pedestrian traffic. Me, I focus on it all. But what you're going to have to do is figure out what's happening in cars? You got to stop looking at cars. We're looking at license plates and start looking in cars and what cars are doing. If you can't see into cars, that's fine, but there's also ways to figure out what's going on inside the car. We have to figure out who's inside of it and what their reaction was. You may not see somebody's body reaction if they have tinted windows, but the car will tell you what's going on. I've had a car pass me, and I know I've mentioned this before, coming down Route 1 at 12 o'clock at night in our town, and it was a Pennsylvania plate, tinted windows, beige Toyota Corolla, and the guy just sees us. He's doing 50 miles an hour in a 50-mile-an-hour zone in the right lane and just throws the anchor out and bam, hits those brakes. Okay, and then the guy that I was working with, who was a newer guy, is like, what do you think I'm like, oh, we got this is a good one. And he's like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't know what's going on in this car, but the vehicle, although I couldn't see the guy's face or what he looked like or how he reacted inside the car, the vehicle itself had a reaction to our presence. So, as we're driving up down Route 1 southbound, following the guy, he's riding the brake. Now, it's just very abnormal. We've just watched 500 cars over the past hour pass us. Some doing 50. If you're doing 50, why would you have a reaction to a cop? Unless you're another cop looking to see if it's your buddy. Because I do it all the time. I'm the worst. I'm driving like, whoa, do I know that guy? Have you been to the training? I'm like, oh shit, I forget. There's a reaction. I shouldn't be giving to these guys. But fair or not, I have no drugs in the car. I do have a gun, but I'm allowed to have it. So, we're following this car, and when we stop it, we find out that he had 2 pounds of synthetic marijuana in the car. He was coming from New York City, heading back to Philadelphia, and we broke down his story to figure out why would you be on Route 1 coming from New York City to Philadelphia, coming straight through New Jersey down Route 1 with all these traffic lights. Just wouldn't make sense. And what it came down to is he had a fear of the state police, didn't realize he was coming through the gauntlet of Route 1 of local towns that are getting trained like you guys are. So it was something as simple as him riding the whole brakes. I mean, it's just like a strobe effect of his brakes as we pulled out and started following him. He's the only one who did that. That was a very, very uncommon thing to occur. So that's just one example of all the examples I give in the class. And I want you guys to try to understand what I'm talking about. You will have to observe traffic. I usually tell guys, look, go out, take your car, face traffic. If it's at night, use your takedowns, whatever it may be, if you need to see into cars. And you'll just begin to notice that some people have a reaction to your presence, some people won't. Who will? People engaged in criminal activity will have a reaction to your presence. But you're going to first see guys doing 75 and a 50. Let's say that. Of course they're going to hit the brakes when they see a cop. They're speeding. That's not your guy. It could be, but most likely it's not your guy or girl or whoever it may be. Now, don't discount women either. A lot of good interdiction stops on women as well. It's just as bad. Let's be fair and firm right across and make sure we get everybody who's engaged in criminal activity. We focus on criminals, and everybody's a player in this game. And that goes from 20-year-old kids to 55-year-old women. You know, I've gotten them all. But what you're going to want is to focus on those cars that are having a weird reaction to your presence. And I'm going to go over a few things that I'm going to share with you. So my advice to you again is go out, begin to watch traffic. Some guys like to go up and down the highway and kind of blend in traffic and move and see what cars do. That's fine. Everybody's got their different style. Like I say in the beginning of my class, this is a foundation for you to build how you want to build. I just give you a perspective of where to start. One of the hardest things that most cops don't know how to do, and I was one of them. I was just one of them. Where do I begin? I want to make arrests. Where do I start? What do I look for? And then we had to kind of learn it on our own, figure this whole thing out. And there wasn't a YouTube when I started in 2001. There wasn't videos like this. There wasn't stuff I can get online and work with. There was no online, right? You wanted to go have fun with yourself. You grabbed a magazine or a tape and you put it into your VCR. There was no porn on the computer. So we didn't have any of that stuff. There was no Snapchat. There was no Facebook. There was no networking. It's very difficult. But I'm going to go over a few things that you may see when you're looking into a car and they may be engaged in criminal activity, and you need to start looking into motor vehicles and looking what people are doing. Stop looking at plates. The plate is the last thing you look at. To put the thing in before you've already made the decision to stop that car. Don't worry about the plates. You don't got to worry about the plate. Get your head out of that friggin' plate. I remember when I started at the PD that I worked at, I mean, it was like nobody knew what they were doing. Nobody knew what interdiction work was. And if the people who did know what they were doing, they were already transferred out to a division that wasn't teach patrol guys. We weren't getting that. So what we were doing, like we'd go work with guys and we're like, all right, you have good eyes. Can you see that plate? Here we are. Enter. Oh, no. Oh. Enter. That's what I was told police work was. I was told by somebody to go sit at a gas station and run plates. I'm not at a gas station, I'm sorry, a liquor store. and run plates as they were leaving the liquor store, and eventually you'd hit somebody with a warrant because people who drink have warrants. I mean, this is the thought process behind what I was told as a new cop in the agency I worked with, and we look back on it now, and it's quite comical. It's just that I was asking the questions to the wrong people. I'm asking questions people have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. They have no clue what I'm discussing or what I want, what I need from them. So, here's a few things. And guys pick up on this stuff after they leave the class. You pull up next to a car, or a car sees you and they have a reaction to your presence. You pull up next to them at a light, and they are whispering in the car without looking at you. This is just a very locked-ahead whispering. You'll see mouths moving, jaw lines going. You have people talking like this in the car. I mean, if you haven't been one of those people I have as a kid, all right, he's right there. No, just play cool. Now look at your phone. Look at your phone. Unordinary stuff. You will not see these things. This is not a normal occurrence. These are people who engage in criminal activity who are trying to avoid you and try to figure out what's going on. They're trying to one-up your game. This one I love. I show a video of it in the class. If you're pulling up next to a car and you don't know, if you've never heard of a felony stretcher yawn before in your life, this is kind of what it looks like. You're next to them in your car. The guy's not looking. Maybe it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and all of a sudden they're doing one of these. Oh, yawning. Or stretching. Give them that good stretch in the car. Or give them that big yawn like, because they're having a reaction to your presence. They're having fight or flight kicking in. And it's just, I can't tell how many people I've been next to in a traffic stop at a red light and looking over and they're yawning. And I'm like, oh my God. So good. It'll just happen that way. You'll see that. Don't ignore the indicators. Now, there's guys who I've worked with who knew these indicators and ignored them, didn't pay attention to them, okay? Trying to disregard your presence. I had a guy who really made... I had a guy one time... I've had hundreds of guys, but I'm thinking off the top of my head just as things go on. I've had people who've done this to me. They're driving next to me, they've done one of these, like, keeping their head like this, or like looking off to the right. You're over to the left, they're looking off to the right. Again, it's just unordinary stuff for them to be doing. Blatant head snapping. You know, when you're caught off guard and you're engaged in criminal activity and they see a cop pass you and you're doing one of these and a head snap back. But don't get that confused with the glance over, the quick look over, the one of like, and then looking back straight ahead. So that's, and I'll demonstrate. We have videos of this in the class as if you guys come to the 2-day. And then some of my last advice is, well, I'm going to give you guys a little bit more after that too. Let me just see. But you have to watch regular traffic and notice the difference your presence makes. You're going to see that, right? Wiping hand over a face, all right? So you may have somebody who's like this. Pull up next to you, they start grooming their hair or wiping their hand over their face like this. This is grooming techniques to try to keep you calm, try to keep people calm because they're having reactions to your presence, very nervous. So they're just having reactions to presence. They're just wiping their face, things like that. And the big one, if you have a car that passes you and nobody is smoking and you like the car for some reason and you pull up next to them and now everybody in the car is smoking or somebody has lit up because you're coming after them, you have somebody who's probably engaged in criminal activity. Now, as far as criminal activity goes, some guys are like, well, I'm pulling cars over and I'm getting suspended drivers and warrants. Okay, it's criminal activity. They're up to no good. It's wrong. You're going to run into that. We had a car, guy comes past, 2 guys come past us in a car. It was a Lincoln Town car. I was with my old partner. And they come back past us. They're doing 45 and a 50. They throw the anchor out down to 30 miles an hour. We know something's wrong in the car. We follow them. They exit off the highway quickly to get away from us. We pull the car over. And hey, Officer Bino, Woodbridge Township Police, license registration proof of insurance. What does the kid say? I'm 13 years old. So even a 13-year-old is going to have the same reaction to the police presence when they're engaged in criminal activity. It was him and his 12-year-old friend who were taking their father's Lincoln out for a joyride. The father was a taxi driver or a livery driver in New York City. So you're going to have this with all these people. You have to know that. And these are the things you're going to learn in class, more than just this 10-minute video, because this is one of the longest videos I've done. But if you're looking for that stuff, really it just comes down to what's unordinary. I could recall one guy off the top of my head who I've arrested once before for distribution, and a year later, I'm bad with names and faces. I'm sitting in traffic, and of course, I'm sitting in traffic. My eyes are going everywhere. I'm looking to every car, see what's going on. And I see one car, about 4 cars up in the right lane. And I just see he's the only guy looking back at me in his rearview mirror. Then I just see his hand slide, come over, pull his seatbelt over, and click, and puts it in. And I'm like, oh, my God. Like, why is this guy the only one who's nervous that I'm there? Why is he having a reaction to my presence? Pull up, punch the plate in, had to go to a service call so I couldn't pull him over. And sure enough, it's the same guy I arrested a year ago for distribution. Now, there is no way he knew it was me. It's a very big town. I didn't know it was him. When I put the plate in, I knew it was his name. It was a violation for not wearing a seatbelt. Do I think he was carrying drugs at that time? Absolutely. No question in my mind. And he gave it away with something as subtle as looking back at me in a rear view. You guys have to open your eyes and begin to look around. When I worked, see this fancy phone? I wasn't on it, okay? If I had to talk to somebody on the fancy phone, I talked to somebody on the fancy phone. Pull over, made my phone calls. But when I got back into the game, my head was in the game. So you have to keep your head in the game. And begin to look around. I'm just constantly scanning for things. Just constantly scanning. And that's the stuff that I'm trying to give you guys to go out and be able to do. Does anybody have any questions while we have this long video going on? Hopefully this helps some people. I have a lot more stuff to offer. I don't want to give everything out today. Not that I'm trying to hold it from you, but I don't want to overwhelm you with a larger video. But guys, you've got to start focusing. Get your eyes off the radar unit. Now, you can use the radar gun to add PC. That's fine. You want to keep it on. Some people would say, like, well, you could, maybe a drug dealer would have a radar detector. Look, maybe. I honestly have never come across any drug dealer with a radar detector. I know that there's a claim against that. Why would I keep the radar detector on? Because if the guy's doing 3 over the speed limit or 5 over the speed limit and I have nothing else to pull him over for, I'm going to use that. And that's legal. And I would get them to admit that. Hey, man, so officer, you have him on the side of the road, and we talk about roadside interview. I'm not going to talk about this, but hey, you're doing 54 and a 54. How fast were you going? I was doing 55. Well, the speed limit's 50 miles an hour. Okay, so I was doing 55. Yeah, it's 5 miles an hour. The speed limit, it's a violation. So that's just another tool you can use in your cavalcade of tools in Title 39. Now, if you guys want to know more about what to use to stop people for, here you go. Open Title 39 and read it. Okay? Read Title 39. You'll find stuff in there. We talk about things in my course, and I've done some videos on it. But that's where all your tools are. Let me just say, the drug dealer you locked up, this is from Craig Meyer, my buddy. Hold on. Oh, he wrote a big freaking thing. I've got to try to hit the... All right, let me just read Craig's question. The drug dealer you locked up who kept pulling off into closest business on Route 1 each time you entered on the highway to stop him late night and then refused consent to trunk and sat in front of it. They try to get off roadway a lot thinking it can't be stopped. 7-Eleven, quick checks, etc. Yeah, it's correct. I mean, if you have somebody... I've had people dipping off to me in gas stations. Had to step out of the car, speaking to them off the side of the road. And again, if you're trying to do this criminal vehicle stuff, if you're not asking people to step out of a car, you're not going to win in this game. If you're not comfortable with it, people call me and they're like, I just can't win. I'm like, are you asking people to step out of a car? No, you have to get comfortable with it. But yeah, so I've had people who pull into gas stations and I'm like, where are you coming from today? Where are you going to? Blah, blah, blah. What are you here for? Where are you pulling to the gas station? Oh, I need gas. Go back to the car. Gas tank's full. Your gas tank's full, bud. Oh, I had to use the bathroom. Does this sound weird to you? This building reasonable suspicion? Is that helping you guys understand what reasonable suspicion is? So without going on ranting and raving, if there's any topic you want me to address, I have loads of stuff. Somebody asked me, the same guy who asked me about giving away this content for free was, oh, do you think you'll ever run out of it? Guys, I mean, I'm surrounded by I'm not lying, like 4,000 sheets of books and pages to go, oh, I have so much stuff to give you. It's never going to end. I want to branch this out, but keep it quiet and private. So invite your people. And guys from other states, if you're liking these videos, we are expanding. We are going throughout the country now. I talked to a guy today from Tennessee. I'm going to hear from another guy from Tyler. You better call me, buddy. But we're looking to expand and go to other places and get this to other cops, because it's not just in New Jersey where we suffer with what are we supposed to do. It's all over the country, and they have pretty much the same rules we have to follow here. So if you guys need anything, reach out to me, send me a message. But invite your friends to the group too as well. Let them join the group. Let them know this stuff too. Maybe there's some things that I'm saying that people don't like. I really don't care. I don't care. All right. Scott Owens. I don't know Brad. Who Scott Owens is. But that's it, guys. Have a good weekend. I'll try to get back on here tomorrow and give you some short stuff, but it won't take as much of your time. Have a great weekend. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to our channel or leave a comment below, and also like us too. It means the world to us.